There are places on earth where the silence doesn't comfort, it haunts you. Where the trees don't just whisper secrets, they bury them. Welcome to Crime Stands Still, Deep Cuts. I'm your host, Carrie Drobin. Today, we follow a monster. A teenage hockey star, a small-town mechanic, a serial killer. And the isolated Canadian highways where so many girls have vanished, they've given it a name, the Highway of Tears. You'd hear about girls going missing, and you just hope that they'd come back. But of course they didn't, not most of them. British Columbia is breathtaking. It's wild, it's vast, but in that untamed beauty hides something darker. Communities there were small. The roads were long and empty, and along Highway 16, between Prince George and Prince Rupert, 725 kilometers of winding, forested corridor. That's where the girls began to disappear. Some were hitchhiking, others just walking home. Their faces would later appear on posters, on power poles, in newspaper margins, and then they'd be gone. What was really terrifying is that for a long time, no one was ever caught. They just disappeared. Cody Lejbikoff grew up just off the highway. Fort St. James, tiny, isolated, seemingly safe, right? By all accounts, he had it all. A loving family, a future in sports, and charm. So much charm. But Cody had another side, and parents started to notice it on the ice. His hockey aggression went too far. It wasn't strategy, it wasn't competitiveness, it was something else. Raw, unbridled violence. There was something in him, as if he enjoyed hurting people. He had a hobby. He liked to hunt deer. Not to eat it, and not cleanly either. He maimed the animals, and he finished the job with his bare hands. That's not sport. That's sadism, and a red flag for psychopathy. Lauren Leslie was 15, legally blind, fiercely empathetic, with a spirit older than her years. She met Cody online. He was older, charming, and quickly, aggressively sexual. But Lauren wasn't looking for that, and she told him so. Yeah, that's all it takes, right? But she didn't block him. She didn't ignore him. Maybe she thought she could handle it. Maybe she was just being polite. She insisted she wanted to meet someone normal. Yeah, how many times do you tell that to a psychopath online? Could he just be normal? On November 27th, she told her mom she was meeting a friend for coffee. You can almost see the breadcrumbs being laid out, right? You can almost see the warning signs. Never a good idea. First of all, to lie to your mom. Second of all, to meet a friend for coffee, when instead she met Cody in the dark on a school playground. It's all the hallmarks of a horror film. He brought alcohol. She said yes, naive, unsuspecting that Cody was already a killer. But when he picked her up that night, she became the one thing that he hadn't expected. His undoing. Hours later, Cody would be pulled over on a logging road off Highway 16. Blood on his face, blood in his truck, a knife, a wrench. Could we say overkill? He said he'd been poaching. Right. Hunting deer. Yeah, we know he doesn't hunt. But there was no deer, just a girl, discarded in the snow. Her face unrecognizable. Nearby, a monkey backpack, a polka dot wallet, her name inside, Lauren Leslie. Well, he really wasn't worried about getting caught, was he? Police's first thought isn't, hey, we have a serial killer on our hands. Lauren's death wasn't the beginning. It was the thread that unraveled the whole story, because Cody had killed before. 3 other women, to be exact. All vulnerable, mothers, all found brutally murdered or never found at all. And all tied to Cody through DNA. Psychologists believe that he didn't lose control, he planned. He chose victims that he could overpower. And once he got away with one, he just kept going. He wasn't spiraling. He was composed, functioning, living with roommates, holding down a job, and killing women on the side. October 2009. Jill Stuchenko, 35, mother of 5, an addict. Cynthia Moss. Jill was beaten, stabbed, sexually assaulted, and left half buried in a gravel pit. But they found her DNA on Cody's couch. Further investigation confirmed that Cody had a significant cocaine addiction, and he would often get sex workers to get the drugs for him. 11 months later, September 1st, 2010, just 12 weeks before Lauren's murder, Natasha Montgomery went missing. She came from a good family. She was a figure skater and struggled with crack cocaine. She became a sex worker to support her habit. Police found Natasha's DNA on Cody's clothing, everywhere, in Cody's apartment, on his bedding, on the walls, even in his bathroom. But Natasha's body was never found. Now, police are starting to wonder, could there have been more missing and murdered women? I mean, serial killers generally could kill 1 a year, 1 every 6 months. Sometimes they can leave 10 years in between, or even more often. September 10th, 2010, there was Cynthia Moss, another young mother found missing in a wooded park. Her blood on an axe, her DNA, you guessed it, inside one of Cody's socks. She was described as too trusting, a bit of a hippie, a struggling cocaine addict who also supplemented her income through sex work. With her murder, we can start to see the unabashed violence, the way an animal might attack its prey, the way Cody hunted and killed with his bare hands. He targeted these women for their vulnerabilities. Most of his victims were mothers who now left behind children. Less than 3 months after murdering Moss, Cody met Lauren. She represented somewhat of a departure for him. She was 15, not a sex worker, not a mother. Cody was evolving. She was the catalyst to stop Cody from murdering again and again. But here's the crazy part. Cody claimed Lauren killed herself. That 3 unknown men forced him to help murder her and the other women. Cody said that he handed these men the weapons, and he was just there, like an observer. No one believed him. Not the jury, not Lauren's father, not the dozens of friends who'd known Cody as someone else entirely. And by 2014, Cody was convicted of 4 murders. But who was he? Why was he? Was he born this way? One of the forensic psychologists who testified said this about Cody. He didn't become a killer overnight. He was already on a trajectory long before he met Lauren. This case mirrors what's called early onset psychopathy. Cody didn't break, he never bonded. And let's start with the cruelty. He didn't just hunt animals, he beat them to death with his fists. I mean, that kind of hands-on, prolonged violence is not just aggression. It's control, it's dominance, and, I mean, let's be real, deeply abnormal. And then we can talk about the emotional deficit. Cody could mimic feelings, smiles, tears, apologies, but they were surface level. No depth, no real empathy. I mean, he had a girlfriend, he had a job, he had all the trappings of a normal life. People described him as funny, personable. But when confronted with his crimes, he had absolutely no remorse, no shame, no ownership. He spun fantasies about shadowy men. He blamed the victims. That's pathology. Psychopathy is about never forming the connections that make control necessary. Cody lacked a moral compass by adolescence. It wasn't trauma-based, it was developmental. This isn't a case of nurture gone wrong. It's a case where nature wrote a different code altogether. Cody wasn't made. He was born this way. A criminal profile, Marcus Weller, had this to say about serial killers, and Cody in particular. Serial offenders tend to follow patterns, but with Cody, what struck me was how early that pattern formed and how little it changed. It wasn't a buildup of rage or a snap. It was clinical, tidy, intact. He killed because he wanted to. It was a behavioral blueprint. Cody was consistent with what profilers refer to as a congenital affective deficit. In plain English, he was emotionally disconnected from birth. He's not an emotionally reactive killer. He's a predatory one. In MRI studies of adults like Cody, scientists observed significant underactivation in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing fear and empathy. When normal people hear someone cry, their amygdala lights up like a warning flare, but for psychopaths, it barely registers. In Cody's case, the forensic files described scenes of excessive overkill, bludgeoning, stabbing, post-mortem mutilation, but neurologically, it wasn't excess. It was neutral. It was emotionally flat because he doesn't feel what we feel. In his interviews, Cody showed zero physiological response when he described his victims. There was no pupil dilation, no micro-expressions of distress, just a profound absence of connection. I mean, we've all heard this, right? That dead-eye stare. That absence is not caused. It's wired. Cody didn't have trauma. He wasn't poor. He was privileged. He came from good, decent parents, and that's probably the most chilling part. He came into the world already missing something vital, and he learned to fake the mask long before he learned what it meant to be human. So he didn't snap. He never formed. But we take it for granted that people are what we see. I mean, his roommate had this to say. He was normal. He laughed a lot. Always had girls over, but he was into really dark stuff online. I thought it was just weird guy stuff. Whatever that means. I mean, we all know this. Psychopaths aren't foaming at the mouth. Some are quiet, calculated, friendly. That's what makes them so unnerving, so dangerous. Cody showed classic signs of psychopathy. Superficial charm, no remorse. He doesn't feel what we feel. By the time he went to trial in June of 2014, For 4 counts of first-degree murder, the prosecution had poured over nearly 3,000 pages of forensics. By August 26, 2014, Cody testified and offered his absurd tale of helping other people kill 3 women. In this version, he says the women owed drug dealers money. They were all addicts in debt, and the dealers solicited Cody's help to execute them. It was absurd. But he had a different explanation for Lauren's death, because she wasn't an addict or a sex worker or a mother. He said that she harmed herself, and he figured that she was done for and he was going to put her out of her misery, so he finished her off with a wrench. A forensic psychologist who testified said that people always ask, why lie like that, right? Why make up a story so bizarre, so implausible that no one could possibly believe it? That's the thing with psychopaths. They're not lying to convince you. They're lying to control the room. And for someone like Cody, the truth has no emotional weight. What matters is power. It's a game. Even when he's cornered and cuffed and chained to a courtroom bench, he's still trying to steer the story. It's not a defense, it's a performance. Even if it means telling a story that no one believes. And here's the chilling part, maybe, that the lie isn't meant for you, it's meant for him. Because if Cody ever looks straight at the truth, he might see what he really is. And monsters like him, they don't look in mirrors. They build illusions instead. The control is the currency. It's like playing a chess game while everyone else is playing checkers, right? I mean, it's as if Cody is sitting up there saying, if I can make you sit through my lies, I still have power over you. I mean, psychopaths do believe they're smarter than all of us. They're grandiose. They believe they're more cunning than the average person, even the cops, even the lawyers, even the jury. So even if the lie is ridiculous, the act of delivering it with confidence is the performance. It's almost reflexive, not defensive. It's like a form of communication. I mean, they're not lying to gain something. They just lie because they can, right? It's like muscle memory, habitual, compulsive. And shame, none. Remorse, completely absent. Accountability, foreign. A non-psychopathic person caught in an extreme circumstance might break down, confess, express guilt. A psychopath? Forget it. It's the thrill of deception. It's sadistic pleasure from watching people trying to make sense of their lies. Because every retelling is another manipulation. It's another twist in the knife. And they lie in wild, transparent ways, not because they're stupid, but because they need to control the conversation. This is Crime Stand Still Deep Cuts. Because when the world stops watching, that's when the worst monsters step into the light. Remember, the highway keeps its secrets well, but it never keeps them forever. I hope you'll keep listening, subscribe to my channel, and check out my book, Surviving a Psychopath, in court, in life, and in love.